right, yeah, it's been a minute since you've heard from me. It's actually been a little over 2 weeks since I've done an episode. But yeah, I'm back. Hi. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. I went on vacation. I recorded an episode while on vacation in Indy. That was the last episode you heard. But now I'm back. I want to talk a little bit briefly about my vacation, and then we'll dive into this week's topic. But I do want to give you a bit of a teaser here. I teased it on social media on the TJT podcast pages. Um, but what's happening at my alma mater of Southside High School in the small town of Hookstown, Pennsylvania, is something to be had, something to talk about with what's going on in the LGBTQ community there and the religious folks who are really protesting this. Basically, there's a committee trying to form a proper pronoun policy for the district. It's a 9-person committee, and of course, the religious people are up in arms over it. It's funny that they've come out of the woodwork now because of this. It's funny that they come out now because of what's going on instead of, they were all for this teacher that got suspended because of not using a proper pronoun and all this. But basically, there's a lot to talk about, and we're going to address it in an upcoming episode. I'm aiming for that episode to hit your feed next week, But if not, it will be very, very soon. I want to do the time, take the time, do the proper research, and then, and only then, will we address this. I'm going to address this from both sides, give you my take. By the way, it will not be anti-LGBTQ. It will not even be anti-religious, because I do think both sides in their own way are a bit toxic in this situation, maybe one more so than the other. And no, it's not the one you're thinking of, but I will be addressing this head on in an upcoming episode that I'm aiming to put on the feed next week. So just, I'm aiming for that. If it's not next week, it will be soon. Just keep an eye on the social pages, on the social media pages, for updates on that. Again, I'm trying to get my website up and going so you can get updates there too. Where it's easier for me to, if you don't have social media, where you can follow the updates on the podcast as well. So just stay tuned. I will be sure to let you know when that episode will hit the feed. So real quick, I do want to talk about my vacation to Indianapolis, to the Indianapolis area that I took a couple weeks ago. I just want to really quickly mention one thing, and then we'll dive into this week's topic real quick. So not last week, but the week before, I was in Indianapolis, and really the main highlight of the vacation for me was Friday night, the Friday night before I left, and that was when storms hit central Indiana. And if you follow me personally on social media, you've seen what I was doing, and that I was tracking storms. Now, if you also follow me personally on social media very closely, you know that I've been out of the weather game, sort of, so to speak, for the last 8 years to go on this mission of finding myself and working on myself, and I'm still doing that. Don't get me wrong, and that's going to kind of tie into this week's topic, but I was tracking storms like the good old days, and I got to be honest with you guys. It was fun. It was exhilarating, and it made me realize how much I missed it. But here's the thing. Is it going to make me want to go back to doing weather full time? No. Because while it was fun, I don't want me going back into weather to take away from what I'm trying to preach on this podcast. Not necessarily preach, that was the wrong word, but talk about on this podcast, on the different topics that we talk about. I don't want me doing weather and me having that weather man meteorologist image tied to me to take away from what I'm saying to you on this podcast or on any other ventures that I'm going to end up doing, any other content that I end up making, because I just don't want it to take away from that. So that's why I'm staying out of the weather game for now. I'm not going back into it full time. I'm still an enthusiast. I still follow it occasionally, but I'm not going to go back into it because I don't want it to take away from this podcast, any other podcasts that I'm going to start here down the road, my other content. I don't want it to take it. I don't want it to take away from all of that. And that's what I'm afraid of if I go back into that. And that's just not something that I want. All right, now this week's topic. This week's topic, as you can tell by the title, it's all about living authentically. And what I mean by that is, are you living your life the way you want to live it? Like you want to authentically live your life. And I bring this up because I was listening to Dr. Phil's podcast, Fill in the Blanks. He talks about living by design. And in this week's episode, he talked about living your authentic life. And what he meant by that is, are you doing what you want to do in your life? Or are you living your life by how it was assigned to you? And what he meant by that was, like, if your parents did a certain parents did a certain thing in their life, are you following in their footsteps by doing that exact same thing? Like, for example, my brother is following in my dad's footsteps, and he works for maintenance, like, I'm talking about, like, maintenance in the townships, in one of the townships that we live in. See, I am grateful enough to be living my authentic life. I'm living the life that I want to. Like, for example, I'm taking this journey on self-discovery and working on myself and being who I really want to be, not what somebody else tells me I should be. And for years and years, especially in high school, in middle school and high school, I was living a life that was not, I was somebody I wasn't, I was trying so hard not to be. And that was like everybody, and it was pretty much being every other guy in the town that I live in. I'm hoping this makes sense. But basically, it's like this. If you're living the life that you wanted to live, then you're doing it right. Okay? If you're living by the way that somebody else wanted you to live, or the way your parents want you to live, then you need to re-examine your life and see what you're doing wrong, because you don't want to be stuck in that way of life forever. There's so much more to life than just working, sleeping, and doing the same cycle over and over and over again. There's so much more to it. And that's, again, why I'm on this journey of self-exploration, and I'm working on myself and trying to be the best person I can be. So I could see the glass, because for years I used to see it as half empty. Now I'm seeing it as half full. And that's a huge difference to me. Um, it's a wonderful thing. And I really recommend that, because Dr. Phil can put this out better than I can. His Fill in the Blanks podcast, PHIL, Fill in the Blanks podcast. Go look it up. Go listen to that, because, like I said, he can explain it a lot better than I can, but he's so on point with this. Like, if you're not living how you want to live your life, you're doing it wrong. You gotta make changes to where you want to be. Like, for for an example, what I just talked about, I wanted to be a weatherman growing up. Or did I? It's what I was made out to be. I was this picture of me that was painted out to be a weatherman going forward in life. But yes, it was nice. Yes, I enjoyed it. But that's not really, after moving away from here, that's what really did it. After moving away from this area and the small town I grew up in, and moving out of here and getting an open mind and seeing what the world has, I realized that, yes, it's different out there. I don't have to be this person that everybody else wants me to be. I can be who I feel like I should be. And it goes hand in hand kind of with what the LGBTQ community goes through. Some people don't want to be straight the rest of their lives. Some people want to be gay. Some people want to like both genders. And that's okay. It kind of ties into that too. But really the big point here I'm trying to hit home is live your life authentically. Live it the way you feel like you should live it, not what people think. Not what everybody says, not what everybody says you should live your life by. That's basically the point I'm trying to hit home here. All right, and once again, I thank you all for listening to I've Got Something to Say. I really do appreciate all the feedback and all the wonderful things I've been said about this that has been said to me about this podcast. You have no idea how much it means to me. That's really why I started this. I started it because I enjoy making these podcasts, but it's to bring value and to bring perspective and to help you live a better life, really. And to also kind of document my own personal journey, because this is a journey and the journey will continue for as long as I'm around. The journey will continue because, again, nobody's perfect, and I'm just trying to live the best life and be the best person that I can be. I do want to talk about something else, and I'm going to do a little something different later this week in a bonus episode. Actually, you'll hear it tomorrow as this episode's going up. But I want to do something a little bit different, and you're going to hear it tomorrow in the bonus episode. And I'm going to talk about how walking is so much more than just a physical exercise, especially for somebody like me who goes through depression and anxiety. It's so much more than just exercise. And let's face it, I'm not skinny. I could use the exercise, but you'll hear tomorrow as to why it means a whole lot more than just getting exercise. And you'll hear about that tomorrow. But in the meantime, TJT Podcast on Facebook and Twitter. Follow it. If you got an email, if you want to send me some comments, you don't have social media, email's always there. tjtpodcast@gmail.com. And send in a voice message too if you want to hear your comments. If you don't have an email and you just want to do a voice message, a link to how to do that is in each podcast description. Each episode description of the podcast here. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.